Okay, we're live. Good morning.
Good morning.
Um, where are you? Are you still based in like Alsace, or where are you
Yes,
based?
correct. Yeah, I
Okay,
live near Strasbourg.
okay.
So
Is that where
that's
is Arsene Wenger from there, or no?
is what?
Is Arsene Wenger from there somewhere near
Oh,
Alsace?
I should fucking know because my brother is was a lot into football. But I think he was.
Yeah, he's from. I think he's from Strasbourg somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
We have Racing Club de Strasbourg.
yeah,
It's
legendary ex-manager
big.
given honor carrying towards
Mhm.
hometown Strasbourg. Okay, yeah, just Strasbourg.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's when I saw Alsace. I was like, I'm pretty sure Wenger's from there somewhere.
Why
And
do you
you're
know?
just football, just Arsenal.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, how the town you're from is like small, is it?
Yes, correct. Where my parents are now,
Yeah.
because now it's like the city, but
Oh,
but it's not a big city. I mean it is for Alsace, but yeah, where I come from is like a village with maybe 3,000 people.
wow. Okay. Yeah, it's quite small.
Yeah,
Um, I actually don't know how many people live in my town. It's funny how people. I always think other people know that kind of stuff. Money or population. Oh,
yeah.
22,000.
You should
Jeez,
Google that. I mean,
I didn't think it was that big. 22,000. So
oh,
that's like
okay. So not small.
reasonably sized.
Mm.
Um, okay. And so you grew up there. What did your parents farm then or something, or what did they do?
No. So my mom is an accountant and my dad is like a technician.
Okay.
Mhm.
What does technician mean? Is that like basically an engineer kind of?
Yeah, kinda. Like
Okay.
repairing machines.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, when I hear a town that small, I just think of where my dad lives and he's a
Mhm,
farmer. So I just assume everybody's
mhm.
a farmer. And have you've one brother or more brothers?
I do have one brother. He's
And that's
20. I mean, now he's 30.
wow. And is that your only sibling? Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So then the two of you were growing up, and uh, was there? You went? Did you go to school in the town? You went to primary school or elementary school or whatever in the town that you're from. Did you? Was there a
Yeah,
secondary school
correct.
there as well?
No, so I just went to primary school and then I took like a bus and it was the village after where I live. So
Okay.
basically, always close.
So was it? Was there many other kids your age where you grew up then?
Yeah, actually, the it's fun. Like in our village, my year, so 98, it was the bigger like class with a lot of people. We were 25.
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, so it's quite big for like a small village.
Yeah, there must have
And
been
my
a,
my
a
my
power outage
brother's
one year.
yeah, correct. And my brother's class was the smallest, so we just
Wow.
discussed that with my mom a few days ago.
Yeah, I think there was like there was six in my class
Oh
when
wow.
I was in school. Yeah.
What happened
Um,
your year?
I don't know. Um, I don't know. Yeah, but it was all every year was almost like that. It was like
Oh,
somewhere between 6 and 10.
okay.
Most years. Um, so then, okay, so you were probably okay then when you were growing up because I was just kind of when I saw where the village you were from and the size and stuff, I was thinking that's not dissimilar from mine. And when I was growing up, there was like nobody, not many people my age. So then it was just you were just gonna walk around kicking rocks, like nothing to do. I read that you did like was it gymnastics, some kind of gymnastics when you were younger too.
Yeah, so it was rhythmic gymnastics.
Okay, is that
So
like with
like
the ribbon and shit on the
yes,
floor at the
correct.
Olympics?
Ribbon,
Okay,
hoop, ball. So the story behind that, like my grandmother, she was a twirling teacher, like
okay,
like just a kind of a
the
piece of
baton like that.
metal, yeah, baton.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
And we would try to look for like a club or whatever, but there wasn't really any place that was like nice. And then I started like kind of some dancing in the village after that, and then they told me, oh, you should try rhythmic gymnastics. It was like the building next to this one, and then that's how I end up doing that for 12 years.
Wow.
Mm.
And what? So there's different apparatus for that, isn't it? There's like a stick with a ribbon on it. There's a ball, like a kind of a metally looking ball,
Yeah,
a hoop, and
yeah.
then you just do your on your own too.
You also have the clubs, and a rope.
It's so random, isn't it? Like, how did
It
they?
is so random indeed.
It's like the person
Like,
that designed the sport was just like, I don't know, use a ribbon or something, and then someone else like,
mhm.
what about a ball? They just started
Yeah,
adding stuff in.
correct. But
So
it's very pretty. Have you looked at it
yeah,
before,
I've
or?
seen it. I've seen it on the Olympics.
Mhm,
Anytime I've seen it, I've just been so confused. Like,
mhm.
there's bits of it that you're like, wow, that's incredible. You know, like where they're
Yeah, yeah,
whatever, like a hand and a foot on the ground, the other foot up in the air, and there's a ball on the foot, and you're like, wow, how did
yeah.
they do that? But then there's other parts where even with the normal, you know, like the floor gymnastics, I just find it confusing where it's obviously all part of a routine, but you'd see
Mhm.
someone run across the floor, do like back flips and somersaults and stuff, land, and you're like, wow, that was cool. Then they do kind of a weird dance to move like three steps over to the corner, and you're like, what was that about? Yeah, so it is. And then as well, the thing I always find with any kind of gymnastics at the
Mhm.
Olympics is you're watching it thinking, geez, how is the human body capable of doing that? That
Yeah.
is insane that person did it. That's the most impressive physical
Mhm.
feat I've ever seen. And then the commentator will go, oh, they won't be happy with that. And you're like, wait, what? It's like, that's the best thing I've ever seen, and something's wrong with it. It's like, yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
their little toe separated at one
Mhm.
point or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, was it frustrating learning that kind of stuff? Like, were you, I guess if you're that young, maybe you're not aware of how intricate what you're doing is, but like, it must be hard to be judged, you know, in that kind of respect where you do something and you think, oh, that was pretty good. And then the teacher's like, oh, your foot came off the ground or your finger lifted or whatever.
Nah, I didn't find it like the sport is hard, but I wasn't pissed because of that. Like, I remember maybe like the very early age, but it was more about like the coach itself, like, but more like human relations, like, oh,
Yeah.
she wasn't nice, like, I don't want to go anymore. But luckily my mom was always like, no, you should try one more time, we should try more. And then like actually it ends up being like nice. But as you said, maybe like as a kid you don't want to be uh like not said not so nice things, but like you want to do well or whatever, and
Yeah.
you can take things personally when it's like nuts. So I'm glad like I got a bit like pushed for like sometimes, but then you grow up and you learn that's only to get you better, and I think then you start to enjoy like the process. And
Yeah. It's hard. It is a hard balancing act when you're talking to a child. Like, even I find it with my own daughter, she does like gymnastics. She's like 4, so it's not too intricate yet. But like, we got a trampoline
mm-hmm.
and she's trying to do cartwheels, and doing cartwheels on the ground, like on solid ground. She's not doing a cartwheel. But then when she does it on the trampoline, she's like small. She's like a modicum closer to actually doing a
Mm-hmm.
cartwheel. She just does that where she puts her hands on the ground, sort of does a donkey kick, and then goes, "Was that one?"
That's cute.
And it's like anytime she does it, I'm like, "Yeah, that's
Yeah.
closer." You know, it's like you don't have the heart to say like you are so far off doing an actual cartwheel. So you're just like, "Yeah, I mean, it's better than the last time you did it." Yeah, so I can't picture myself teaching anyone anything like that. So when you're doing that stuff, then do you just do, I guess you do your body in space first and then they
Mhm.
start adding in apparatus after? Do you just do all the apparatus at the same time as each other, or is
No,
there like a semester of ribbon, a semester of ball or whatever?
so actually, no, you do. Like first and foremost, you do just your body and like
Yeah.
the splits and stuff. I was never good at that. But then like you always start with all the apparatus, and then you do maybe like one day this one, the other day this one, and then you start with the early age competitions, and it's just like yourself, and then it's like a 20 seconds routine with every apparatus, and then a bit of a longer one with just yourself. And I think we had like a small group routine as well. That was fun.
So you did it for 12 years. You started when you were 6, is that what you said?
Yes, correct.
So up until like 18.
Yeah.
And what level did you get to?
It was not like high level. It was, I would say, pretty amateur, but like on
Did
like,
I not read that you were like French team champions or something?
yes, but like it was 29, and we were like French champions, but like I should be proud of that, but like it's like small level, and you're just like, it's a routine that everyone does the same. Like, I mean,
If
you're
you
still a
if you could
kid
if
and
you could
you're
if you could equate it to the Olympics, like, so if you're going to the Olympics, you're at a level 1.
Mhm.
What level was what you were doing? Like 4?
Yeah, maybe 4.
That's still a pretty high level.
Yeah, I don't know. Like
Yeah.
when like in this sport, it's quite hard because like if you don't start at 4, at like if you go to those I don't know how to say that in English, but like les pôles, like the places where all the good kids start to
Okay.
like go into
An
a camp
academy
or
or whatever, kind
whatever.
of. Yeah.
Yeah, like in this sport, like gymnastics, you can't really compare to like the high level then,
Yeah.
like, and still it's good what you do, and it's good level, but like
I'm
that was
imagining
just
you. I'm
really.
imagining you now in 10 years' time
Mhm.
doing an interview. You did like, what did you do, business or something in college? So I'm imagining you doing like a business podcast, and they say, "Oh, and you were at the CrossFit Games," and you're like, "Well, it's an okay level. It's like it's not quite, like just downplaying everything that you ever achieve." Um, yeah, that's funny. So how did you get into CrossFit then? So 18, um, you finish up gymnastics. Was that just like you were just kind of like, all right, like I've peaked, like I'm at the ceiling of where I can go to with this, so
Yeah,
I'm just kind of
like
bored.
at some point, like as I said, if you didn't go to those places where you can like be a very good gymnast, like you're doing the same thing over and over, like maybe you get another routine, but like you're not gonna get more flexy, or you cannot do
Yeah,
like more crazy stuff. And it's like also a like a women's world, like there is maybe one or two guy in the whole area, or maybe whole France. And then like it's those age where you grow up, and then you have those like women, like it's not big fights, but like it's
yeah,
getting boring. And then I knew I was gonna go to like another town for my studies, so after high school. And then I knew, okay, I'm done with gymnastics, because like this sport, you can change club, but it's not like very common. And I knew I wanted to do something else, so that's when I switched.
and you want to do boxing too, is that right?
Yeah. So during high school, I met like a very good friend. She was American. So during the summer holidays, I went to her place and she introduced me to boxing. But actually, I kind of did not really like it. But at the same time, it was something new, and I was like, I always enjoyed and will forever like do training, any kind of training. But the fact of hitting someone, like I cried the first time we had to like punch each other. And like if you ask my parents or whatever, I'm not scared of anything, but I didn't understand why I should punch like my best friend. I didn't get it.
Yeah.
So
I
I
think I'd
didn't.
be the opposite. I wouldn't mind hitting someone, but I'd probably cry if someone was hitting me. I think that's the aspect I can't handle. Is like, yeah, when you're dishing it out, it's fine, but as soon as someone hits you, it's like, no, time out, time out. It's like, I want to stop.
No, not my
Yeah.
nose. Stop.
So you started. Did you start doing that when you went back to France then
So
too?
yeah, correct. So I went back home and I googled like a boxing coach, whatever, and I ended up finding a guy that was doing it in a CrossFit gym. So the gym was downstairs, and then like the dojo or whatever you call it was upstairs. And then I saw the CrossFit and I was like, "Ooh, that's fun! Like that looks way better than boxing." And then I told him, and like we switched. like the coaching into CrossFit, and that's how it started.
And was the boxing like classic, like red gloves boxing, or was it like Muay Thai or Jiu-Jitsu or something? Was it like MMA type or just like classic in a
No,
square ring
so
boxing?
he actually did Muay Thai, but it was like just like punching whatever. Like I
Okay.
didn't learn like the basics of, or like the rules or whatever. I just had some crazy like gloves and then did
Yeah.
like some
Yeah.
moves like whatever.
He was probably struggling. He was like, I need to get her to stop crying first, and then we can move on to some of the skills. So you started doing CrossFit then. So you moved downstairs, started doing CrossFit, and did you find then that you were, whatever about the fitness or whatever about the, maybe the strength wasn't there yet, but did you find that you were kind of naturally adept to it then? Were you like, oh, that's easy? Whereas with stuff that other people might have struggled with, like moving your body and, like that kind of body awareness stuff.
So yeah, I think like what I could take from gymnastics is totally the body awareness. Like it was like nothing was easy, or maybe some stuff more than others, but I could like learn very quick. And I think that's a big thing. Like maybe for some people, just to learn to do a box jump is something crazy. As for me, like I wasn't scared, so I did like high
Yeah.
box jumps and stuff like that. But like the strength, I had nothing. Like I remember doing like I could do handstand push-ups, but I had to put like 3 ab mats because I had like no strength.
Yeah.
Or like a pull-up, I had like crazy like 3 bands or whatever. Like every beginners, but like the weightlifting, I could move a barbell. Like it's horrible now when I look at the videos, but compared to some like faster, a
Yeah.
bit better than like others, I would
And were you
say.
able to do handstand walking and stuff or not yet?
Yes, but that was more like we didn't do that at gymnastics, but more like growing up in a village,
Yeah.
doing monkey stuff. Like,
Yeah. Um, some comments. So Bernie says, it's different in Ireland where I am. Punching your best friend is practically a national sport. This is actually ridiculous.
yeah.
As I read that comment, I just thought, I'm 35 and I've never punched anyone and I've never been punched like in the face.
Oh, you're a good
So
guy.
yeah, I need to rectify that before I'm
Yeah,
36.
correct.
I'm gonna punch someone. Someone else says a European time frame. Well, listen, James, a European time frame. Every show I do is at like 8 p.m. UK time. So it's not exactly like middle of the night. So you're welcome anytime. Breakfast, yeah, this is very early. Okay, so you finish your kind of on ramping and your learning and stuff. And
Mm.
what year are we talking here? When is this, like 2017, 2018?
Yeah, like it's late 2016.
Okay. And the coach at that gym or coaches, were any of them like, oh, you could be good at this? Or what, like, was there a moment or was there something that happened that you thought, oh, I should compete? Was it like local competitions or did someone say something?
So after I met this coach, like I was gonna move to another city. So that was in Strasbourg, and I was gonna move in Colmar. And like my school was next to a brand new CrossFit gym, and he knew the owners, so I went there the first day of school, and basically like it's now still my coach. Like the couple there, I mean they are my best friends, and like they didn't knew I was gonna like compete at the CrossFit games or whatever, but they saw that I could like learn very quickly, and compared to like maybe other members, like I could pick stuff quite easily. Like I remember I had to do like one learning class, or how do you call that again?
Like
When
an
you
on
learn
ramp kind of thing.
yeah, the basics movements, and I could do like again like box jumps or stuff like that, and they were like, okay, you can just join the class or whatever.
Is this it here?
Yeah, no, yes, correct. CrossFit Grillen.
Oh, okay. And you still train there now? Wow, it's nice.
Yes, it is. It's so nice. So I live in Strasbourg. My boyfriend has a gym in Brumat, so it's like 20 minutes from where we live, and I go still in Colmar like once a week, every Wednesdays.
And did you say they're still your coaches?
Yes, correct.
Wow, okay. I think I just have you plastered on the front Like as soon as I open the website, I just have a picture of you at semifinals or at the games or something.
Oh,
Um,
maybe.
yeah, I guess your absolute competitive CrossFit is only a part of your demographic that you're aiming for. It's a really nice gym. They have a lot of rings.
Yeah, it is.
And is your boyfriend's gym a CrossFit gym as well, or different?
Yes, it is. It is across the gym.
And what's that one called?
Tribuck CrossFit.
Oh God, spell that TRIB.
Oh, okay.
Tribok.
Yeah.
Oh, Bruma is now what you said.
Yeah.
This is it. Look at that little video and all. That's cool. That's a nice place too.
Yeah, it
Is
is.
that
That's
him?
it. He was blonde at that time. So odd.
Wow, it's pretty reasonably priced.
Yeah, it is in France quite reasonably compared to like
€79 a month. That's
UK or
crazy. God, I nearly joined that from here.
You gotta come here.
That's crazy. And just CrossFit Kids too. That's cool. And do you coach there at all, or?
I don't. I only coach one kids class at in Colmar. So when I go there on Wednesday morning, I do 1 hour the kids class, and then I train. And I train. It's seniors, so like older
Oh yeah,
people.
okay.
On Tuesday, just 1 hour, and it's at the university, so nothing to do with CrossFit.
How do you coach them? Like the seniors? How does the seniors classes differ from the kids classes? Because I'm always like, I guess like the kids classes have to be fun and it's
Mhm.
all like games almost, or like you're kind of trying to keep them engaged with each other. And then the seniors classes, do you do CrossFit with them, or do you do like
So
a
unfortunately,
gentler approach?
I can't really because it's in like a gymnasium and we have like very little material. So I
Okay.
just have like bands and like a bar where you can like hang yourself and do stuff. But I still kind of use the methodology, but I won't do like any kind of weightlifting with them or whatever. Like I
Yeah.
would love to, but I don't have the material. And you can still do pretty good stuff like without it. Like I have also a bench, so sometimes we do like step ups or we'll do a lot of like walkings and stuff with like I use like the running drills I do, but I do it like easier for them.
Yeah. Scale it
Or
back.
like strength with like bends and stuff like that. You can do a lot of like isometric stuff or very
And
interesting.
have you got you've got your kids course done or whatever? Have you got a level 1 and stuff as well then?
Yes, I do have a level 1.
Okay. Would you ever do your level 2, do you think?
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. Did you get one at semi-final? Was it who got did everyone get one at semi-finals or at the game? Was it not something that everyone
Uh,
at the games was getting one or something?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. I didn't receive any email or whatever.
Ask someone. Ask Daniel Shafi or someone. I think there was a thing. Maybe that was last year that
I
everyone
think
at the
it was
games.
last year, maybe.
Yeah, you should look into doing it. That'd be cool. Yeah, a games athlete coaching kids. Are the kids is anyone that you coach aware? Like, what age are the kids? Are they like 5 or up to teenagers or?
So no, there are like it's called preteens. So there are
Okay.
9 to 12, and the seniors I have like some are younger, so 70-ish, and the older is like 93.
Whoa, that's
Yes,
cool.
and she's so good. She can do 1 minute plank. Like
What?
most guys at the gyms are complaining for 30 seconds, and they're crushing it.
Yeah, when you said she does 1 minute plank, I was like, oh, can I do 1 minute plank?
Yeah,
That's
correct.
crazy. Wow. And then so are the preteens, are they aware? Like, are any of them fans of the sport or anything? Or they're just like, oh, that's just Claudia.
So I didn't tell them, but like we are several coach and like the owner of the gym, they like some know me because also the parents are doing CrossFit there, and then they know. And
Hmm.
now like the owner of the gym, is Luc, they put me and Victor's face like at the gym. You know, when you enter a dojo, like, and you
Yeah,
see the
yeah.
sensei of any kind of sports. So now it's me and Victor at the gym, like huge posters of our face. So now, I mean, you see the face, like you ask why you're here.
Is he from there too?
Yeah, he is. He's training full time there.
Wow. Okay. And are you the
Mm-hmm.
same age as each other?
As me?
Yeah. Are you and him the same age or no?
No, he's 21 and I turned 26.
Okay. And did you cross paths growing up? Like, were you training there
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
together? Okay.
Mhm.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
correct.
Wow. That's yeah. I'm not surprised he has both your posters up. I'd be doing the same thing. I'd be like, look, the two best French athletes are from here.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay. So you
Mhm.
train. So when you go there once a week, is he there then? Do you train with him
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
go there?
Mhm. Like we don't
Okay.
do the same program or whatever, but we will
But something
eat
similar
together, warm
or
up together. Yeah,
yeah.
it's quite like similar.
And who is so the owner of that gym? Does he do all your programming then?
So he does most of my programming. So he does like the CrossFit side of it, and then we like growing up. Like more recently, we hired like a conditioning coach, a running coach, and my boyfriend was a physio before opening a gym. So he helps us with like body movements, warm ups, or like prehab stuff. So we grew
Yeah.
up like into a team, but he does like most of my programming.
Yeah. It's interesting. And has he ever coached anyone at your level before or like close to your level before?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? So he's just grown with you then as you've progressed, he's
Mhm.
progressed. That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's kind of rare as well. Like it's very rare to have. I know there's a couple. Um, oh, I'm blanking big time on names at the minute, but there's a couple of people. I think Shelby Neal up until recently had her affiliate owner was the coach, and I
Mhm.
think, oh my god, what's the name of that girl that made it to the games first time this year? She's American as well. Oh my god, I'm just having a total brain fart. Um, fuck, I'm not going to think of it. But yeah,
Lexi Neal, maybe?
yeah, Lexi Neely, yeah,
Mhm.
she is. That's just her affiliate that does the coaching too.
Yeah,
So it's
I
it's
think
it's
so.
it's pretty rare though. It's only like you're one of about three or four, I'd say, that have that type of setup. Like most people get to a certain level
Mhm.
and then say, all right, now I need to go to think tank or HWPO or the
Mhm.
program or whoever. Is it, was there ever any temptation when you were like coming up to say, I know you've hired a conditioning coach and running coach and stuff, that's more expertise, I guess. Was there
Mhm.
ever any point coming up where you sat down and said, look, maybe we should go to, I don't know who, but someone else?
No, I mean, I think like it's really a trust matter. Like people think you need to join those groups, and I mean, and that's totally fine. I can also understand that. But as long as you get better and you trust the people you work with, like I don't see why you should leave for any other person.
It's yeah, it's fun. Just looking at your op or your games page. It's pretty funny, like the improvement. So
Oh,
like 40,000th or so up
I
to
didn't enter my one of my score
on
that
that
year.
first year. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was thinking, I was like, that's a huge leap between 17 and 18. Um, so you did a team and semi-final first. That was your first experience, was it? Or was that you qualified but
No,
didn't go? You were an
so
alternate or something?
the, the first 2 years of me qualifying to semifinals, or um, I did both team and individual. You could at that time,
Okay.
but for the semifinals, I went individual, like
But you were
because
like their alternate or whatever. That's why you're still listed there, is it? Because
yes,
you
correct.
had
Because I
technically
was part
qualified.
of the team, and then you're still like listed in it, but I wasn't competing at those semifinals.
That 2021, is that the year? Was it still online that year? Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So that was that anticlimactic then when you qualified? Were you like, woo, oh cool, I just do it at
No, I
home?
didn't understand what it was. Like I was doing just another workout at my gym, and I didn't understand anything.
What about the next year then? So when you actually went 2022, so that was the year trying to think, Laura won it, did she? Or Gabby won it?
Uh,
I think it was
Was
like
it
Laura,
Laura
Sarah
or
was there
Gabby?
anyway.
I
Laura,
think it was.
Gabby.
It was. Oh, I don't remember.
It was the year. It was that one, and Strength and
I
Depth
think
was the other
Gabby
side.
won.
Yeah. So
No,
then,
Laura won.
were
Laura,
you
Karen, Gabby. I think.
were you more aware then of the kind of gravitas of what you were doing when you were going out on the floor with them? Then
Mhm. Yeah, I think so. It was this year when I was like, oh wow, I'm fucking competing against like Sarah Sigmund's daughter, and I was like, well, okay, let's do it. So
it's
that was
crazy
like
though.
more a realization kind of thing.
Um, did you kind of take it? Like, you finished 10th, so you did like
Mhm.
reasonably well considering. Did you kind of take it in your stride? Like, were you able to bottle it up and just think about it afterwards, or like were there moments where you're out on the floor, like looking left and right, being like, "This is ridiculous"?
No, I don't think during like the events, but more like, warming up, you're like looking around and you're like, what am I doing here? But then like on the floor, you're like on some events, I could beat those guys. So I was like, oh, I can actually do quite well on some stuff. I just have to work more on others. And like I remember like the first event was the legless rope climbs. So maybe on this one I got a bit too fired up because I remember for the first half of the workout I was leading, but I was like I was totally not at my pace. Like I was already quite good, like at pulling, but not that solid. And I just took the running pace of like the other girls. And I remember I was just there to like compete and and push. But then like the eighth rope climb, I think I got a no rep, and then I end up like dying. And I think I finished the workout, but I was there like for 2 minutes looking around, and I was like, okay, I should not do that anymore. Just focus.
It is funny, like, because I remember talking to Emma McQuaid about, I don't know, was it when it was in Spain? Maybe she was at regionals,
Hmm.
and she had that thing of similar to what you're saying, where it was kind of like, oh, cool, I'm at regionals. And then she kind of looked at the people around her and was like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like this, I'm so out of my depth. Um, but yeah, it's funny now that like someone going to semifinals will probably look at her, and now next year I'm sure we'll look at you and be like, this is crazy, I shouldn't be here. It's just funny how like people develop or, like improve as they go on. The next year, so like last year then that was the big, that was like the Germans rode, and there was like 60 or whatever that was there.
That was Berlin Europe semifinals, correct? We were
Yeah.
60 indeed.
Um, and then it's kind of hard then because like if you see that you finished 10th in 2022 and 22nd in 2023, it looks harsher than the reality
Hmm.
really is. You know what I mean? It's like it's probably a similar enough position to finish in, really, when you think about it. Because if you finish 10th in lowlands, and if there was probably 8 or 9 people maybe better than you at strength and depth as well, you're probably in or around the 20 mark if those two semifinals are combined. But then when you see the word or the number 22, is that hard to stomach then? Is it hard to swallow when you see a number lower than the number that you had the previous year, even though the field is different?
Yeah, I think like people compare like years to years, but the fact is like you can't really compare. It's not the same competition or whatever. But I mean, I understand, and that's what we all do, of course, and I did that too. But then like it was hard because that year in Berlin, like my goal was to qualify for the CrossFit Games, and that did not happen. So for me, being like, I don't know, 15th or 22nd or 37, that was the same.
Yeah.
So it was more like the realization that I did not make it. That was like hard, and then
What?
like
So
the number itself.
is it because you finished 10th, you thought, oh, well, another couple of places and I'm in? Like, as in, you had those moments of beating some of the better girls in the world on certain workouts, thinking, all right, well, if I just like improve this thing and, shore up this thing a little bit, is that why you had a year mark 2023 as the year to go then?
Yeah, I think it was different stuff, but also like I was when I was at Lowlands, I was still like studying full time, working full time. Uh, I was doing another like coaching kind of degree. I had a lot of stuff going on, so I made like decisions to allocate more time for training and really make it like something. So that was also the year like 23 where I like put those decisions in place. We like also changed some stuff like for training, and as you said, worked on the things that need to be worked on. But 23, I think I was way fitter and I was like way better overall, but like my mind was still like not set at like, okay, I can compete and I can like, be there. And so I think it was more of a, I don't want to say mental thing, but kind of like a like confidence issue.
Yeah.
And also like a few months before semifinals, I injured my back, and I'm a true believer that when your mind is not ready, your body will feel it. And it was a training that I injured, but I'm sure it was because I wasn't like ready mentally and confident that I did that. So I was just.
Is it, do you think, did you keep the same process this year? As in, did you still go like all in, like, like treat it as a professional this year, or did you change? Because like it's like there's an aspect there as well of you're putting so much pressure on yourself. So if you had the year you finished 10th, it was not a sideline, but it was kind
Mhm.
of a, I don't know, and like an extreme hobby. Like you were really
Yeah.
into it, but you still had other things that you were focusing on. So you had other outlets and stuff. Whereas the year in 2023, then if it's all you're focusing on, the pressure is
Mhm.
just ramping up more and more. And especially, I suppose, if you're, putting out, not putting out, but if you're putting pressure on your coach, and if you're taking on other coaches and stuff as well,
Mhm.
it's putting pressure. Now there's pressure coming, even if it's not, doesn't actually exist. There's pressure coming from other people, and you might feel like you're letting people down and stuff. So then I'm guessing because of that, then when you do finish 22nd, it must be really hard if you
Mhm.
thought, oh, this is the year, and then it doesn't go the way that you plan, even though you've gone all in and you've increased your efforts, you've increased your time that you're putting into it, you've increased all the little dotting the I's and crossing the T's. Was it a struggle then after, when you finished that semi-final, to kind of process what had happened, and not to just be pissed off and angry and sad and everything?
Mhm. Yeah, I think totally like I was still working at that time, like not full time but part time, but still like yeah, I think it's exactly what you said, just more pressure on myself. But like it's like the pressure usually you put it on yourself. And like this year I remember I was like a lot in my mind, like what if I don't make it, what if. And compared to this year, I never had those thoughts in my head. Like I was the training, like we did change some stuff, but like not crazy. But I'm also like working with a mental prep since like I was already in Berlin, but just started a few like months before. And I remember that we also like switched the thoughts and stuff, and build the confidence. And I remember I was way more calm in Berlin, in Lyon. And I never like thought, okay, what if it doesn't, like I don't make it. And that's
Is that
something I think important as well.
is that just rephrasing talk then that you're having? Is
Mhm.
that the main focus? So instead
Yeah,
of saying, oh, what am I doing here, it's more
yeah, yeah,
like, I've
correct.
earned the chance to be here,
Mhm.
basically. How long does that take? Because as someone who regularly internally beats the shit out of myself, I'm curious how long it takes to change the, like, do you still have to work on that, or is it now natural that you have positive self-talk rather than negative?
Um, I think it's very like individual. Like everyone is so different. And for me, like I also had to switch from like the because I started CrossFit, it was a hobby, and I think it's the case for many people in our sport, like my age, or maybe now like the younger generation, it's different. But I had to switch from like, okay, I'm an amateur, I'm doing it for fun, and I compete, but for fun, to, okay, I want to make this like a living and be a professional and compete at the CrossFit Games amongst the best. So it took some time for me, but that was maybe because yeah, I was working, and but a lot of people are, so maybe a year or whatever for me.
Yeah. Do
But
you the kids that you coach now, like the kids class, it's just so we were at SoCal
mhm.
last week and there's a teenage division and the teenage games are on recently too. But like it's crazy to me how you can see people doing events like SoCal or Wadapalooza or whatever, and they've got like they're 15, like 14, 15, 16, and they've got like, tape on their shoulder and they've got like cup marks on their back from having like work done and stuff. Like to me, that's just insane that them or their parents or their coaches or whatever would let them get to that stage that they need to have that sort of intense body work done just to compete at like what should be a hobby, what should be like, oh, I play football, but I do this thing sometimes, or I play tennis, but I do this thing sometimes. Do you find, have you noticed a shift or have you like, is that a kind of a focus, do you think now for you, you mentioned that younger generation coming up, that even now when they're starting out, they're taking it more seriously than say kids 5 years ago would have taken it?
yeah, I think it's like CrossFit is so accessible. I mean, we can discuss that. It's not, but it is at the same time. As I said, like when you compare to gymnastics, like if you don't start when you're 3 or 4 years old and you go to those like
Mm,
um, places where you like they turn you into a champion, you cannot make it at when starting at 10. As for like CrossFit, I started at 18 and now I'm competing at the CrossFit Games. I mean, it's more accessible in that regard, but at the same time you don't have this whole organization telling you, okay, you have to do this before and then this before, and
yeah.
maybe you don't have to compete like every other weekend, because like in CrossFit you can do literally, you can find a competition every weekend. So yeah, I think it's, I don't remember the question, and I could discuss that for like years, but
It's just like because I don't know. I think like Ben Bergeron had it right when he was kind of
mm,
saying that he was kind of talking about doing this teenager academy thing, but the whole rule was that you can't go there unless you also play lacrosse or football
mm,
or
yeah,
some second like a team sport or whatever separately, and even just like fucking cross country running or swimming or whatever.
mm,
But I just think it's interesting now because you have people like, say, James Sprague won the male division, and he's been basically all in on CrossFit since he was a teenager. Dallin Pepper, same. I think Dallin played baseball maybe, but there's a lot of that. I remember hearing Dallin when he was like 16 or 17, saying the only sport he did was CrossFit, and then in his last year of school, he let himself play like football or whatever, having like deprived himself previously because he thought it would hold him back in CrossFit and stuff.
mm,
But it's just interesting. Then you're at SoCal and you see, I just like that guy. Just he was like 15 or whatever, just covered in cup marks on his back, and it's just like, how has he gotten to the, like if he's at that now? What's he
mm-hmm.
going to be like when he's 20 or 25 or whatever? It's crazy. I think,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know. It's nuts. Like it's nuts. And there's so many competitions, like you say, that you can just do one every week and just
mm.
bury yourself through lack
I
of
think,
understanding.
yeah,
And
I think it's important, especially at those young age, that you have like good people behind you, like your family that is behind you, like good coaches, and that that tells you like, okay, it's about CrossFit and it can be something very important and special, but you still need to like go to school and have friends and do other stuff, like
hmm.
especially at those age, because that's where you like shape yourself. And yeah, I think it's important.
How long after then? So did you finish that in Berlin and you go take a couple of days off, go straight back to training, or did it take you longer to kind of get back into it after that?
I think I took only 1 or 2 weeks, and then yeah, I went back to trading. I was very pissed.
Anger is a great motivator.
Uh,
How long did that take to go away? Like, how long was the frustration there for? Like, were you, do you, did you feel like you were held back the first couple of weeks of training, that you were kind of annoyed at yourself, and like, did you have to kind of come around to that, or?
so the thing is, like, I wanted like to shut off for like at least 2 or 3 weeks, like with CrossFit, and don't hear about CrossFit or whatever. But I also like I'm a very optimistic person, so I knew that that was not gonna help me to be like pissed or whatever. So I took maybe 2 weeks. I was pissed, I was angry, whatever, and then I processed it, and then it was all about, okay, what's the plan for next season? What's the plan for? So that's how we worked it out, and then we had a meeting with my coaches and just planned the off season and back to work.
Yeah, screw CrossFit. I'm going to do it more. It's like, I hate CrossFit. Now I'm going to do it even more. So so this year, then you went back this year, you finished sixth, qualified for the games. Obviously, I'm sure you would have liked to qualify last year. Like, it would have been great. But did it like mean more to you then, that you had missed out, that you'd felt the pain of not making it when you wanted to make it, and then were able to do it again afterwards?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, it's pretty like common to say like you learn more from your failures than from your successes or whatever, but I just think like everyone has its own like path or way to grow, and I think I needed like this to happen to just like take the right decisions and make it better the next days or months, or you know and grow
Um,
just.
the games this year then, so obviously every question I'll ask, or every thing that's going to be said about the games, is blanketed by the fact that it was a horrible experience, and that,
Mhm.
like the tragedy with Lazar and stuff. So taking that into mind, obviously there's no point asking you, was it what you expected? Because like, it couldn't possibly be. um with regards to your own performance, say, was that what you expected? Like, did you compete the way that you thought you would? Were you able to, like, did you just kind of, I think a lot of people just kind of swallowed it and just said, all right, I'll deal with this on Tuesday or like Monday of next week, and I'm just going
Mhm.
to put my head down and go as hard as I can. Do you think, were you held back in any respect? Or do you think that it was sort of a level playing field because everybody was going through the same thing?
No, I think it was like it's I think again, like everyone deals with it differently, and but I'm just gonna talk for myself because we're doing a podcast about
Yeah.
like my experience, I guess. But I remember like I had like of course big discussions with my team about like what happened and everything. And for me was like to understand like what I'm feeling and everything, and move forward because that's the only way to go, I guess.
Mm.
And I remember like with what happened for me, like what I felt, it put me into realization that like this those stuff, but like we're all human and we're all gonna like go through hard stuff, and you can only decide yourself what you're like what's your move forward. And I think like for me was a realization that we are like not all at the same level, but human wise, we're just human. We're gonna leave a certain time, and that's it, and we just gotta make the most out of it. And that like it didn't give me a push, but I remember like I didn't see like any other like competitors are competitors, but more like as humans. And like at during the warm-ups and stuff, like everyone was like, some people were crying, some people were like I felt it opened more like discussions, like talks with people I would never talk with
Yeah.
if it was like just competition, pure competitions. I remember like hugging people I didn't even knew before, those kind of stuff.
Yeah.
um, so I felt like it was maybe more human. It's weird to say, but
Yeah.
That's
No,
what
I
I felt.
understand.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, were you happy with your performance then off the back of all of that?
Yes, I was.
It's like female rookie of the year is rare. Like only one person can do it every year. And you had, I'm just looking at the leaderboard. Amy was right behind you, and
Hmm.
Grace was right behind her. So it was, it could be any of the three if you really. Um, it's like it's an incredibly stacked field. That's the thing. So because even when you look at your at the results, oh, hang on, where is it gone? One moment, please. There we go. When you look at your results, like so 33rd on the first, that's I feel like those swim events are either going to be somewhere near the top or you're going to be somewhere near the bottom when it's your
Hmm.
first year. Either you're a freak who does loads of swimming and you're going to be amazing at it, or you're someone who's like, yeah, I need to do more games training, more swimming. But when you go across the top, you've got like, 7th, 11th, basically top 10 finishes. Chad, again, that's going to be one where you're either able to pull out a higher up finish or you're going to slog through it and like finish it basically. It was the end where you really stood out, like the last couple of workouts where that like catapulted you up significantly. The fourth and the third, and that's what I guess many people would define as like classic CrossFit. Like it's a couplet, it's thrusters, it's a bit of gymnastics, whatever. When you saw those two workouts were announced it was in the briefing, like downstairs or whatever, were you like, oh yeah, okay, this is ideal. This is what I needed.
Yes, I was like, okay, it's written Claudia Gluck on it.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Hmm.
Is it hard then? So when you go out, say we'll take like did you think that you were this is all relative. So relative to the field, did you think that you were going to struggle a bit with Chad? Like did you know when you saw that, like, okay, yeah, that's not going to be great for me?
I try not to like, of course, like your competitors and stuff,
Yeah.
but it's more like your strengths or stuff that needs to be worked on. And I knew like endurance is still something we're building, and it takes like times, and it's not just like a few months and then you're very good at endurance events. It takes months or years, and so I knew like it was gonna be a less good finish, of course.
And then those other two you knew would be a good finish. Say the
Yes,
last, the
correct.
the couple at the end. Does one of them come with more pressure then? Like, is there? Because I've often talked to people who think they see a workout that has their name on it, like you say, and that adds pressure of like, oh shit. Like I'm expecting myself to do good. My coaches are
Mhm.
expecting me to do good. People are expecting me to do good. What am I going to do? Versus say Chad, where it's like, right, this is just get through it. Nobody's going to be looking for my name at the top of the leaderboard. There's no pressure attached to that. But then some people are the opposite and they say, oh, I could really struggle at this. I need to perform. I need to do really well. This comes with loads of pressure. And then on the one that does have their name on it, they're thinking, woohoo, like this is exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a mix, but at the same time, like those you can crush it. Like, I mean, I was so hyped up. I was like, when I know I'm like, you can see me dancing in the starting line, and that's usually when I'm in the zone, and I don't even remember that. Like, I was so zoned in, and like that's also the like very good moments when you don't remember like what's happening and you just do it. So
Yeah.
it's a bit of a mix. Like maybe before or during the warm up, I feel a bit more. I put a bit more pressure on myself, but at the same time, like the confidence that goes with it, I like, it's just a good moment.
Um, Similar to semifinals last year then, so you're frustrated and annoyed and everything, and you don't want to talk about CrossFit for a couple of weeks. What were you like after the games this year? Was it similar but opposite? Like, did you still not want to talk about CrossFit, but just because you'd done so much of
Yes.
it?
Yeah, I think the more I grow into the sport, the more after like a big event or a competition or a milestone, I just want to cut with the like everything and just be back in like 1 or 2 week after that. And I
Mm.
think that's important, more so mentally than physically, because I think after 1 week or even a few days, like your body is quite okay, but it's more like what, like the nervous system, the emotions, especially like the games this year, like emotionally was very heavy. So that was it.
What are you looking to do now then for the off season? Like everything's lined up. You put in at Dubai last year. You're going to do Dubai again?
I won't. Last year it was invitations, and this year it's qualifiers. And right now I'm in an off-season cycle,
Okay.
so I don't do any like intensity or whatever. So I don't think I'll do it. I mean, it's sure I won't do any competition this year. Maybe we think about Wodapalooza. It's not sure, but maybe. And if not, we're just gonna start with the season and see after that.
So you might go, in theory, then you might go to semi-finals. Might be your next competition then,
Yes,
in
correct.
theory. Wow, it's a long time to go without competing, isn't it?
Yes, it is. But like I know what I have to work on, and
Yeah.
for my profile, it's not competing. It's more like, as I said, endurance stuff, strength stuff, and those things like need like cycles and time. So I would love to compete, and if I could, I would do like maybe 3 competitions. But when you compete, it's 2 weeks before the competition, 2 weeks after the
Hmm.
competition that your training and everything is a bit like mixed. So
Because it's interesting as well because you do see, um, say like you look at Grace Walton.
mhm.
She did Wadapalooza last year, like in January. Um, did semi-finals, the games, Wadapalooza in September. Um, and she'd probably do Down Under. Like she might, I don't know, actually no. And then maybe Wadapalooza in January. And there is that thing of you kind of wait for these opportunities to come around, and then when they do come around is when you don't, not that you don't need them anymore, but like like it's almost better if you don't do them, like when you, like, it's great you qualify for the games, it's amazing, and then like SoCal is quite soon after the games, and then if you want to do Rogue as well, that's, there's not a lot of it, like there's a lot of people that are doing SoCal last week that are going to be going to Rogue in like a
Mhm.
month. And then all these off-season competitions can be very lucrative. They can tick a lot of boxes for sponsors of, oh look, Claudia appeared at this one, that we'll count that as one of her appearances, and oh, we'll pay to go to this one, and there's big prize money at this one. But then they could also have a big knock-on effect then next, like May, June, July, August, where
Mhm.
you're kind of run down or tired or whatever. It's kind of a tricky element of the sport that, like, you need to make it in order to have these opportunities, but then when you
Mhm.
do make it, the opportunities are almost, can be more of a hindrance than anything else, to if your big aim is just CrossFit Games related.
Yes, correct, totally. And I think it always depends on, like, again, what you need to work on and what you want as well. Like for like everyone has their own goals, and like you have just to take decisions like regarding that. And for me, I know I want to be more of a complete athlete, and for that I need to work more, again, like in the training and not in the competition. But at the same time, I also want to compete, but that's where I felt like my team was very helpful. And they told me, okay, if you want to be better at the next competition, it's not by competing more that you're gonna do that. But like if your profile is that you're like you lack of uh, competitions experience, then of course you gotta compete more, and then the strategy might be good, but it also depends if you want like a short or a big career, or
Yeah.
like a long career. When you do a lot of competitions, you're maybe more tired, and then you injure yourself, or like it's a matter of choices, I guess.
Yeah. I remember even at SoCal asking Grace, she was going out for, I think it was that burpee workout. And I asked her how she was feeling. She's like, nervous. And I was like, why are you nervous? She said, because I want money. She's like, I want to buy a house and I need to start saving money. So yeah, I think there's different reasons for doing different competitions as well. Especially in this sport. I mean, there's not huge earning opportunities. Do you find yourself then, when you look at your level and where you are, like, I remember speaking to Brent Fikowski and he was talking about James Sprague and he was saying we're like basically the same person. This is before the games were on. And he was saying, like, why does James not have 200,000 followers? Like, why does he not have the same opportunities I have and stuff? And it's almost like a timing thing. Like, you look at you coming into the sport, you mentioned Lexi Neely there coming into the sport as well. Prior to this year, I would have said, oh, if you're European, it's harder. Like, it's harder to earn if you're European. But now it's almost just seems hard to earn just because of when you come into the sport. Like, the timing of you entering the sport seems to hold some people back. Is that, like, do you find pressure with that kind of stuff, with trying to balance that, like your own competitive drive and what you want to do, and then making it possible through earning through the sport as well?
Yeah, I think it's like the thing is that how we earn money is through sponsors, of course, as well, like through competitions, but like you cannot only rely on competitions. And the sponsor, they give you money because you're visible. So it's again through competitions or through your Instagram. Time where like your job is to train and to compete and be performant, but at the same time you have to, be a, like, I don't like to use the term influencer, but the truth is that you kind of are, because you need, to do posts on your socials and stuff like that, and it becomes your job too, so you have to deal with that. But like for me, I would rather train than, do those kind of stuff, but I know that if I want to make a living out of it, I also need to do that. So then you have to find like strategies to do it better and stuff like that. But it can be like overwhelming sometimes, especially during the season, when you have a lot of things going on, and then you have to think about like socials and stuff like that. So yes,
Yeah.
it's
I guess, again, it comes
you
down
just
to the
have to
team.
manage it, but at the same time, like, we can make a better living maybe than those at the Olympics, because maybe it's cool, it's good, they are into federations and stuff like that, but most of the people, they have to work full time to allow to travel for the Olympics and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So I think
It,
we
it,
cannot
it
really
comes
complain about that.
it comes down to the team as well, again, that you're talking about,
Mhm.
like what team you have around you. Like, if you can
Yeah,
have,
correct.
a coach that's looking after you physically
Mhm.
and another one looking after you mentally, and then you have management that's saying, okay, you need to do this, this, and this, but we can
Yeah,
probably get rid
correct.
of that one and we can just focus on this one or whatever. Like, that's, yeah, it all makes a difference. Well, listen,
Yeah.
thank you. It's been great getting to know you.
Thank you
We
so
look
much.
forward to seeing you around for years to come.
Yeah.
And yeah, congrats on your season. It's
Thank you.
remarkable. Going to the games and finishing the top female rookie is a remarkable feat. So congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah, I hope in
Thank you.
10 years' time you don't downplay that somewhere on a podcast where you're like, oh, it was okay. It was
Yeah,
fine. It
correct.
wasn't, it wasn't a,
Uh,
it wasn't a top level.